Hello YouTube, we're Size 17 here, but you can just call me Travis. And welcome back to Up Next on the Shelf, the series where we take a look at what's next up on the shelf. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add, so let's just get into the next little piece. Most of them are going to be from one artist. In the background, we're listening to the debut album from Pillorian. If you are unfamiliar with this band, this is what became of John Hamm, who was one of the members of Agalloch, one of my favorite bands. This is the project that he did. Came out earlier this year. It came out before I did videos. Otherwise, I would have talked about it in a video. But yeah, if you like Agalloch, definitely check out this release if you haven't done it. I think it's excellent. It will definitely be near the top of my favorite albums of the year. I think it's really great. Particularly if you enjoyed John's black metal style vocals in Agalloch. That's predominantly, like almost only thing he does in this is that. So if you like that style, you'll get a lot of that. Can't speak highly enough of this album. If you like Agalloch, definitely check this out. I am interested to see what happens with the Don Anderson, Jason Walton. What the hell is that guy's name? We'll get to it. That band, Corada. I don't know. And then some guy from what's that? Some squid octopus. I can't remember what the band's name is. I've listened to their albums, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. Anyway, I'm not sure when they have an album coming out, but I'm excited to hear it as well. But yeah, enough. I'm already like 2 minutes in. I'm not even into anything that's on the shelf. Pillorian, Obsidian Arc, great release from 2017. Agalloch fans, apply. All right, we got two CDs, and then the rest of them are from the same artist. Okay, so the first one up is a band, I think it's self-titled. It's called Adema. This is, I haven't listened to this probably within months of my purchasing of it. It is, I think, new metal. I bought this album because in the late 90s, mid 90s, late 90s, early aughts, one of my favorite bands was Korn, and so I was obviously listening to tons of like new metal stuff. And I went to one of their shows, and one of the bands that opened for them was a band called Videodrome. I think for a long time they went by Cradle of Thorns, but for that release and that concert I went to, they went by Videodrome, and I really liked them, and I picked up their album. I believe, if I'm accurate, they were the first or the second with Orgy to be released on Korn's Elementary label. I think they were second. I think Orgy was first. I can't remember. It was either or. Doesn't matter. I picked up that release. I really liked it. Anyway, the drummer in that band, Videodrome, if you're keeping up, is his name was Chris Coles, and anyway, he was the drummer in this band, so that's why I picked this up. I remember it being kind of meh when I picked it up, even. But I think it got kind of popular, maybe. I don't know. Adema, self-titled. Next up is actually an album I actually bought this year. Came out in 2015, though. This is As All Light Leaves Her by Advent Sorrow. I really like this album cover. This is some DSBM, very much in the same vein as like a Shining or a Forgotten Tomb. So if you're into either of those bands, you'll probably definitely like this, particularly the more, we'll say the latter era as opposed to the progressive era, because this isn't all that progressive, as in the same vein as those bands in their latter era, but the more similar sound. Yeah, I'm not really doing a whole lot of showing of the stuff, but I just happened to pull it out of habit, so here we go, we're looking at it. But yeah, I really like this cover. But yeah, this is, like I said, some super solid DSBM. Definitely worth your time. if you're into that genre. And like I said, you know, for fans of Shining and Forgotten Tomb. This band's Australian, if I remember correctly. I got this on Bandcamp. One of the first things I bought on Bandcamp. Yeah, I like it. Advent Sorrow, As All Light Leaves Her. Alright, like I said, the rest are from one artist, and if I didn't foreshadow it enough, particularly with the name of the video, that band is Agalloch. I have, if I remember correctly, I have 9 releases by Agalloch, so we got some heavy lifting to do here. Alright, Swagelok is a band that I probably discovered, I want to say 2006, maybe 2007. And immediately fell in love with the band. I had, you know, really started to dabble in black metal a lot, and eventually came across this band. And since they comprised of musicians from Washington, Oregon, and Montana, the local aspect also was something that I, you know, appreciated. But yeah, the first one I picked up was their debut full length. That is the Folklore. I always enjoyed this album cover, just simple wood with the gold logo over the top of it. Good stuff. This album immediately blew my mind. The She Painted Fire Across the Skylines Part 1, 2, and 3 are awesome. Part 2 particularly is probably one of my top 5 favorite Agalloch songs. I love that song. Yeah, this album is incredible. If you are familiar with Agalloch, you agree with me. If you're not familiar with Agalloch, which maybe I should talk about them, they are they're kind of an interesting band to talk about. I sort of now think of them as sort of post-black metal before post-black metal was really a thing, because they've always been hard to categorize. Are they black metal? Are they sort of a folk metal band? But obviously they're not. Like, they're dark metal, which what is that even? So yeah, I sort of just landed on they're playing post-black metal before post-black metal was a thing. And yeah, I mean, it's black metal, it's folk metal, it's, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's always been hard to categorize. So post-black metal before post-black metal was a thing. That's what I like. But yeah, I've always liked the liner notes. Got some cool nature photos with the gold script over the top. There's Sean Brenner, I think is his name. Is it Sean? Let me look. Let me give the guy some justice. Sorry, Mr. Brenner. This is the only release he was on, I think. He might have been on the earlier stuff that I don't actually have. And then there's Hom. Some more lyrics. We got Don Anderson. I've always loved this picture of Don Anderson. And J. William W. I think it's Jason William Walton now that I've gotten to that part of the video. More lyrics and credits in the back. But yeah, this album is a freaking classic. It's probably my favorite by the band. It is really close with the one that I'll be talking about, not next, but soon. But yeah, okay, this came out in 99, I believe. Yes, 99. And Records. Great album. Pale Folklore. Agalloch. Awesome. Alright. Next up, this is a release. I didn't buy this except for in the last maybe 5 years I was able to get a staggered copy of this. This is a EP they put out called Of Stone, Wind, and Pillor. It has one of my favorite Agalloch songs on it, which is the title track, Of Stone, Wind, and Pillor. Here's the CD. This came out in 2001, also on the End Records. Inside is not much, just some photos. I always see this as the cover. I'm not sure though. Here's this book. Maybe this is the the way it goes. Yeah, I like this picture anyway. I'll just switch it now. This is officially the point of my life where I switch this to the front. But yeah, this album is awesome. It's got, I think, what, 4 tracks on it. One of them is a thing where they're reading... actually, there's an instrumental too. And there's also the one where they're reading the Henry David Thoreau poem. Or no, the Yeats. Yeats? Yeah, that's bad. I should have looked that shit up. But yeah, this is a great release of Stone, Wind, and Pillor, Agalloch. Very happy to have this particular release, because this was always evading me for years. Next up is the one that is probably fighting Pale Folklore for the chance to be my favorite album. And as you guessed it, this is the Mantle. This is their second full-length album. This came out 2004, I want to say, maybe. Kind of feels sad. It's a guess, kind of, I think. This is 02 numbers. Maybe it was around 2002. I don't know. This album's incredible also. Kind of is a little more black metal-y than Pale Folklore is. It loses, not a whole lot, but loses some of that folkiness in terms of the naturistic way. I Am the Wooden Doors. Probably my favorite song by Agalloch. I love that one. That double bass intro with the drum fill into the awesome guitar riff, with followed shortly after by John Hamm's raspy serpentine vocals. Yeah, I love that song. I'm not sure how I feel about the death of Agalloch. I do sometimes like when bands split up, when I, get multiple bands out of it. And, so far, as we know with this Pillorian, we might just get that. But yeah, I'll speak more about it, I think. But I'll say right now I'm sort of on the fence on it. But yeah, again on the End Records, the Mantle, killer Agalloch album. If you're an Agalloch fan, you know it. This next release maybe throws into some doubt whether or not I'm an Agalloch fan. This is the first album that came out once I was aware of Agalloch as a band. Okay, this is 2006. So maybe I must have known Agalloch by then. I think I might have known about them just maybe before this album came out. Because remember, I got this right when this came out. Well, as you'll see, sort of. So 2006, their next full length, Ashes Against the Grain. As you can see, mine is a promotional copy that I still bought it off Amazon. But this is what came to me. I still have yet to purchase a legit copy. I should do that someday. At the End Records, on the barcode, you can see it says promotional use only. This is a great album by them. I don't like it as much as the Mantle or Pale Folklore. And I don't like it as much as I think most people generally do. I do think it's great. I mean, not unlike The Waves, it's probably my second favorite Agalloch song. That song is incredible, and really pulls this album up in terms of my overall like for it. But definitely for me is a tier lower than Pale Folklore and the Mantle. But again, tough competition. This album is still really great. Limbs, awesome. Falling Snow, another great track. Yeah, just, I don't want to make it seem like I don't think this is a good album. I do think it's a great album. Just not as good as those first two. I am interested to know what the real versions look like. I haven't really looked into Discogs, to be honest. I should have. Remember, I had to go through all of it and figure out which one was a promo version out on the End Records. But yeah, great album, just not as, I don't like it as much as the other ones. This next one up is something that I'm very happy to have. This is a compilation that they put out called is that the name of it? I don't think it is. Yeah, here we go. This is what I wanted. The Demonstration Archives, 1996 and 1998. So this is all the stuff they released prior to Pale Folklore, which I still would like to get copies of those original versions. But for now, this compilation is certainly enough to keep me at bay. So this is some cool stuff. It has here's the inside. There's some Hom with some spiked bracers. But yeah, here we go. So this has the From Which of This Oak. I don't know if they considered it a demo or an EP or what they considered it. It also has the Of Stone, Wind, and Pillor EP, which I actually got this before I got that, so it was cool to have this material officially on CD and not the versions that I downloaded illegally on the internet. And then it had this 1998 promo, which had some reworkings of songs that were on other releases. And then, oh, here we go. Here's Breyer again. DS Breyer, so maybe this Sean. And then William W. But yeah, this is a cool compilation. If you can get a copy of this, I'm not sure if it's the first release on their Licht von Damerung label, which I don't know if they're really the owners of it, but they pretty much release only through them, I think, now up to this point, maybe. But yeah, this is a cool compilation. If you like Agalloch, definitely pick this up because there's some great tracks in here. The Wilderness, This Old Cabin, those are some awesome kick-ass Agalloch tracks. This is definitely worth your time. Next up is an EP. It's just called, I don't think it actually even says on here, does it? Yeah, it's just the white EP, as you can know, because it's just white. This is some cool stuff. This came out in like 2008, I want to say. We'll guess 2008. Okay, it even says right there, 2008. I'm not going to show you. Yeah, this is a cool little EP. It kind of is less, I don't want to say it's not Agalloch-y, it is, but it's a little more acousticy, a little more rocky than some of the other Agalloch stuff, but it certainly still fits. Within the rest of the discography of Agalloch. Just as a side note, because this is probably a good time to bring this up, I have a sort of I guess this isn't a secret or something bad to tell, but so I attended Western Washington University, go Vikings, I guess, and unbeknownst to me, at the time that I was a student there was a professor who taught within my major, which was English, and his name was Don Anderson, and I was a fan of Agalloch at the time, and did not know that it was the Don Anderson of Agalloch who was teaching at my university in my major, and I never took a class from him. It is one of my biggest regrets ever, even though I didn't know that it was him. But fucked up on that one, because that would have been really cool. Because actually it was cool. I had a different professor later on, who I had a film class with. Actually, it was film and disability. It was a totally kick-ass class. It totally opened my eyes to the world of that a group that is totally maligned and rejected by our society, unfortunately. But anyway, moving beyond that. Anyway, he once, randomly brought up Professor Anderson once. If I had ever taken a class from him, it was sort of like it was funny, because at that time I had realized that it was the same Don Anderson. But yeah, I digress. Fucked up on that one, like I said. One thing that's really cool that I'll link to below is there's a video on YouTube of Don Anderson doing like a little like a speech to a class about metal that's totally awesome. Anyone who's a fan of metal, or specifically Don Anderson, will think it's amazing. I will link to it because if I can find it, it's really awesome. It's like an hour, but it's totally worth your time. All right, moving on. No, it looks like I'm wrong because this is on Profound Lore. This is their next full length, which I think is awesome and is probably almost as good as Pale Folklore on the Mantle, but isn't as good. And that is Marrow of the Spirit. This album came out like 2010, 2009, I think going 2012. This album is super, super awesome. I like it a lot. It, to me, I don't know if I can get the, yeah, there you go, you can see the logo. This album is right up there with the, with those other albums for me, pretty much. Great songs. Into the Painted Grey, awesome. Black Lake Nidstang is just a mammoth of song. Yeah, this album is really good. If you have not, if you've listened to the earlier material but not have listened to this one, it is worth your time. Definitely worth your time. Marrow of the Spirit. Next up is another EP. It is called, oh, it's really dark, so I'm not gonna be able to read it, and I don't really remember what it's called. It has this little obi strip, fake obi strip, so maybe it'll help me. It's, yeah, the Phosgene Echoes. It's an EP. It's just one song that's 20 minutes long. Totally kick-ass. Definitely awesome Agalloch material. I would consider this right up there with probably Ashes Against the Grain. So still really top quality. If you can snag a copy of this, I'm not sure if it's, I think it's a little more rare than most of their stuff, but you might be able to snag a copy, I'm not sure. But if you can, definitely get it. It is good. I like it all. So yeah, Phosgene Echoes, Agalloch. And then the last material, I don't know if it's actually the last material, but it's the last material that I have, and that is the last album, full-length album that they put out, The Serpent and the Sphere. This came out also on Profound Lore now that I'm seeing. And this came out, I don't know, 2015, 2014? Yeah, 2014. I gotta say, this album was a huge letdown for me. I didn't really, I don't know, I listened to it over and over and over, hoping that it would click, and it just never did. It's not bad, for sure, it's definitely not bad, but, I don't know, there's never a song that, like, sticks out, and I'm like, oh, that's, at least that song's good. It just never hits for me. I don't know, how do you guys feel about this album? I kind of feel like the majority of people like this album more than I do, though I do feel like quite a few people do agree with me that it is below par for the band. And maybe that's why I don't like it. Maybe my expectations are much too high considering the quality of material that is throughout their discography. I mean, how can they not be one of my favorite bands? All of their albums, sans this one, for me, is killer material. Killer material. So yeah, The Serpent and the Sphere, kind of disappointing. But yeah, kind of a longer video on this one, obviously, because of Agalloch, which is, one of my favorite bands. Want to get some more of their stuff, but already feel pretty pleased with myself to have this much stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, like I said, I'm on the fence on whether I'm, like, if they were going to continue to do this kind of stuff, I guess I'm happy that they broke up and we get Pillorian and then whatever the Karada stuff does. I do like Sculptured. I have a couple of their albums, but it's definitely not as good as Agalloch or Pillorian for me. So I'm excited to hear what Karada, am I saying that right? I have no idea. But yeah, I'm enough rambling for now. Agalloch, if you've been putting off this artist for any reason, do yourself a favor, check them out, because chances are you might like them. If you are into, at least in the black metal side of things, definitely recommend Agalloch a lot. If you like Agalloch, tell me what you think of their discography. Which albums do you like? Which ones do you not like? If there are albums you don't like, or if you've listened to either of these or the Pillorian. What do you think? But yeah, that's it for this video. I'm already going on 25 minutes now, so I should end it pretty soon here. Thanks for checking in on this Up Next on the Shelf update. Check in next time when we see what's up next on the shelf. Have a good day.